All right, I have 4:15, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me to the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Roll call, Sam Martin, Martha Eldridge, and Rick Morgan's here. In keeping with our agenda, we'll have a public input, and then we'll go into the red call. Anybody have anything under public input? Ash.
Ossipee resident. I just, this is the first meeting since town meeting. I just wanted to congratulate Martha for getting on the select board. Awesome.
Do you have anything else?
I do.
Sure.
I'm Allison Hayford, and I have a letter to share from myself and 12 other Ossipee residents,
Good.
and it's regarding the Duncan Lake Beach.
Okay.
For years, children in Ossipee were able to learn to swim through classes offered at Duncan Lake by the Ossipee Recreation Department. Sonia Meter taught hundreds of children to swim over her decade of service and kept the beach clean and well-maintained. But in recent years, the lifeguard position has been vacant, and parents have had to travel out of town for swim lessons. Having a lifeguard keeps swimmers safe by enforcing the swimming rules and being trained and prepared to rescue swimmers in trouble. Children who learn to swim have a reduced risk of drowning and have opened a door to a wealth of opportunities to enjoy many other sports, such as water skiing, sailing, kayaking, and canoeing. The children of Ossipee are growing up surrounded by beautiful lakes and rivers and should be provided the opportunity to become proficient in the lifelong skill of swimming and swim safely in their own hometown. Our town beach has not been maintained in the way it should be, and we need to take care of this resource and make it a safe, clean place to swim again. We are asking for the support of the selectmen in recruiting and hiring a lifeguard and swim instructor and offering a competitive wage to ensure this position can be filled. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter. Alicia Cushing, Brett Cushing, Jake Dawson, Ash Fishbein, Joy Gagnon, Allison Hayford, Jim Hayford, Nicole Keys, Todd Keys, Diane Kozak, Michael Kozak, Katie Meserve, and Misty Ryder.
Something we actually discussed a little bit at town meeting, and whether or not funds were available, and they are. Greg, your thoughts on what we need to offer? I mean, what has happened over the last several years is that they advertised and couldn't find anybody to be a lifeguard. I don't know if you've talked with your counterparts in towns around, if they're having the same issue, or?
It's a nationwide thing. The numbers for lifeguards are down across the country.
Okay.
Yeah. And as far as pay goes, I looked into that for the town meeting. Last year, the state lifeguards at White Lake got paid $10.50 an hour. So my guess this year they'll probably be around like $10.60 to $10.70.
Seems pretty low.
It's the state average is $11, but that's also, the Seacoast lifeguards also get paid like $12.50 an hour for cost of living.
Still seems low.
Yeah.
I mean, how many hours historically have we budgeted for a lifeguard at the beach?
When I looked at it, it was 8 times 56 hours. So 7 days a week, 8 hours a day.
That's what we budgeted for?
Yeah, because I remember when I absorbed it into the part-time wages, it was like 57, I can't think of the exact number off the top of my head, but it was around like 5,700.
There was always a lifeguard on duty full-time Monday through Friday and then part-time Saturdays and Sundays. The Saturday and Sunday shift was the one that was difficult to fill. So then I think when Peter Waugh had advertised for it last, I think he was looking to split it up to like a Sunday to Thursday, and then just to kind of keep the weekend days split up a little bit.
Yeah, if I was to do it, I would do like a 4-day rotation between like 4 days on, 2 days off, if there was enough lifeguards, which we'll be looking to hire too. But
Have you any thoughts?
I would like to see Duncan Lake open back up and used more by the townspeople.
It's
Definitely.
never been closed.
No,
Just-
I know, I just don't think people are going there.
Right, the
Not
last
sure
time
why, but-
there was like a dirty diaper on the beach, and it's just unfortunate because
it's such a beautiful place, and it's ours, we need to.
One of the things that we did change last summer, and I don't know at what point you were there, is we did have a maintenance person go in there on a daily basis to clean up. As much as you hate to think about that, but nobody wants what you described. On the lifeguard thing, my thoughts are that if you advertise, and I'm gonna suggest we advertise at $14 an hour, that you might generate some interest and see what comes in. And I don't say that lightly. Last year, we had $27,000 left over in the recreation budget. So I believe we can do that within our current budget
Yeah.
and still have plenty of room. And by doing that, you might generate some interest and get some applications. Thoughts?
I agree.
Seth?
I was just, go ahead with that, I'll ask after.
Is that for 2 lifeguards, or are we looking for 1?
No, I think you need that too. If you're gonna do 7 days a week, you gotta have 2.
Yeah.
I mean, period. Otherwise, you're in overtime and nobody wants to work 7 days a week.
Yeah, and well, with recreational laws, you have to pay overtime.
I still wouldn't.
Yeah.
The other thing I guess I would also say is, don't be boxed into that. If you have somebody that applies that has a lot of experience and is looking for more, then you need to communicate with us and then we'll make those decisions.
All right.
But I am completely on board with the swim lessons. I mean, it's an important, you gotta consider that 7/10 of the world's surface is covered by water. The fact that people grow up afraid of the water and never having learned to swim is sad. Not just not just here in Ossipee, but 7/10 of the world's surface. I would love to see the swim lessons reinstated. It just became an issue, we couldn't find anybody. So let's try boosting the pay a little bit, see if that doesn't generate some interest. I gotta believe there's somebody out there that wants a good part-time summer job where they get paid to sit in the sun, a good portion of the time, so.
Who does the swim lessons?
Usually like that, yeah,
Yeah, get lifeguard certified, you also get swim instructing.
yeah. So, let's do that.
Okay.
Get that after.
Awesome.
So,
Jim Hazard, Knox Mountain, 40 Knox.
excuse me?
40 Knox Mountain,
Yep.
Jim Hazard. I spent a good portion of my summer just going down to Duncan and dunking myself. And the only, there's really not that many people down there during the day, maybe early morning, but from 10 o'clock till maybe 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, there may be a car or two that pulls out during the week. When it piles in is when a lot of people come up from different states. And, it's right across from Hannaford and all the new developments going on around it. And they look up on the map, it's a cheap little area just to park your car and have whatever and go in there. But I'd rather see the resources put towards the restrooms and the dump, the toilets and stuff down there. If you put trash cans down there and put a big enough sign and post it, people should, pick it up down there. Because I'm down there and I have to ask people, you gonna leave that stuff behind there, or am I gonna pick it up for you and throw it in the back of the pickup truck? So that being said, I think it'd be better off spent, because really, there's only lifeguards. I mean, I could save somebody's life down there. It's well roped off and all that. I don't see it as a problem. Okay? They have people working down there 7 days a week, maybe 2 on the weekends, and that's it, Friday and Saturday.
And that may become a choice of necessity if we can't
I-
find more than one candidate anyway.
Yeah,
And then I would say that we would have to look at trying to put them down there when it's most beneficial.
that's right. I think.
Okay.
If you go out to Purity Springs in Freedom, my wife learned how to swim for $40.
Yeah.
How can you beat that? $10 to rent the pool out, so that being said,
Okay,
have a good day, thanks.
thank you. Ash?
Well, actually, you kind of touched on it. You said last year we had $27,000 not spent in the rec budget. I know the hunt for the town beach is never going to end, and that's great. In the meantime, is there, that money's in the budget to update exactly what he just said, the bathrooms, the garbage, and things like that. And then this next part of my question was, when the town does decide to advertise, can I know so I can put it on the economic development Facebook page and really blast it, get it out there? No one reads newspapers anymore.
We currently budget for a large which we have.
The porta potty was a miscommunication. Well, the company United, when they dropped off the porta potty last year, they put it on someone's private property. So they were supposed to move it, but instead they took it away and never returned it despite emails and phone calls.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what happened. with
So that, the
445.
money is there in the budget to do that. Does Duncan Lake need some attention? Absolutely, it does. And if it's, especially if it's going to be the town of Ospree's only beach, which at least for now it is. It is a site which poses some difficulty, which was all brought up during the debate about the proposed beach on Ossipee Lake. It's a site which bears some difficulty. It's hard to navigate. Water always has and always will run downhill. And it washes it out and washes out the walkway, and we'll do what we can. But it does need some attention. Before we go much farther, one of the things that we've talked about, this was after the whole debacle with buying Camp Secocas. We do now, for the very first time, I mean, there's been a lot of us who have talked about a town beach on Ossipee Lake over the years. But we now, for the very first time, do have a recorded vote that shows that a very strong majority. I mean, we missed 2/3 by 15 votes. A very strong majority of people agreed to that premise. That's the first time. I mean, we've never got that close before. So with that in mind, I believe that we should form a beach committee. People that, and I think where this can come in is, I would like an effort to continue to try to find a site on Ossipee Lake, and I will tell you that I've been looking for an awful long time, and they are few and far between. But I also think that beach committee could also, at the same time, take a look at Duncan Lake and make some recommendations about things that could be done down there to improve it without breaking the bank. I don't know, do you have any thoughts?
Well, committee's a good idea.
Martha?
I'd like to see something like that be pursued.
So I guess what I'm going to suggest then is that we will formalize the formation of a beach committee with those couple of charges, to look at Duncan Lake and what can be done to improve it, as well as to continue to look for a site on Ossipee Lake. And then we'll just open it up for anybody that's interested in serving on that committee. And Ash?
I'd like to throw my name in
All right, well, thank you. And we'll advertise anybody that is interested in being on that committee, getting on. My suggestion is, and I don't, if either one of you want to serve on it, that's fine. My suggestion is we keep it as grassroots as possible and non-political, which means I will not be on it. I'll tell you that up front. Not that I'm not supportive of it, because I am, but maybe once I'm off the board, I'll do it. But I think to keep it grassroots and townspeople being involved in it would be better. And then they can come back to us with recommendations on what it is that they'd love to see happen. Any thoughts? So, I don't know if you want to start a list and add Ash to it. Joy, any interest? All right. Was looking beside you.
Allison?
I thought maybe I was going to see a hand fly up that you'd be interested. I thought there might be one. All right, Crystal? Crystal as well?
This for the beach?
Yeah,
For my,
okay. Joe, you get it? Did
Yep.
you get Crystal?
I did.
Good. That's looking like the start of a decent committee.
Just a suggestion.
Yep.
While it's a little bit outside the realm of economic development, though it's it could be easily related. Most of the people that are saying they'd like to be on it are members of the economic development. I would offer that we make it a subcommittee possibly of the Economic Development Council, so that way we can meet. We already have a meeting date and time, not to add another meeting date and time to other people's schedules.
Perfectly fine with that. That works for everybody that's there, and that's absolutely, you want to grab that on with it.
Excellent.
And I know you're not worried about structure. We would obviously suggest a few minutes.
Of course.
Keep some record of what you're doing and what you're looking at, and then bring it back to us. Okay? Super. Anything else under public input? If not, we'll start into the red folder. First thing we have is the minutes of the...
Seal the minutes.
Oh, correct. We did, prior to the meeting, we had our workshop upstairs. We did go into non-public session on a legal issue. And I'll make a motion that we seal those minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. First we have is the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, March 19th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the check voucher totals. Payroll with taxes and other benefits for week ending 3/24 was $47,343.33. Accounts payable for week ending 3/17 was $164,566.19. The total dispersed last week of $211,909.52. Excuse me. Additionally, we had water and sewer accounts payable, which we track separately, in the amount of $6,401.17. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
These are again just the check voucher totals. We do review each and every bill individually. I wonder why you develop a scribble for a signature.
But it's easier to find it now.
It's true. Using little things like that.
That's what I said to her, I said, just stagger those, like, so we can find it. It's a little things that count.
And we have the payroll reimbursement. This is for water and sewer in the amount of $3,599.75. Make a motion to sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the reports, monthly reports from the dog officer that are here in the book, if anybody would like to look at them.
323 here, sorry.
We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 110, lot 30. Miriam Schaefer is the owner, Richard Buswell's the logger. The taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a report of excavated material. This is from the Jedry pit, map 244, lot 2. And instructs the tax collector to collect $508.84 in excavation taxes. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of intent to excavate. This is on map 244, lot 2, the Jedry pit. Taxes have been paid. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have, it's called an MS 232. It's a report of appropriations actually voted. It's something that we have to file with DRA after town meeting. Ellen, this is all correct, right?
It is.
Total voted appropriations was $6,643,141. Make a motion to sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 108, lot 24, 26, and 27. Pat Jones is the owner, Norman Eldridge is the logger. Taxes have been paid. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have 3 purchase orders, all regarding the cruisers. The first one is the new cruisers that were voted on at town meeting. The first one is for equipment for two-way communications equipment for 2 police cruisers in the amount of $13,684.20. One is to Grapponi Ford for 2 Ford Interceptor sedans, the amount of $56,782. And the third is for 2 Motorola radios from Motorola Solutions in the amount of $7,127.44. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
This is
This, we have an application for a veterans credit, which has been okayed by our assessor. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
While we were on that subject, we got a couple of them we need to do. At town meeting this year, they approved the change which extends the veterans credit to all veterans, whereas before it was only by specific dates of service. Now it's extended to all veterans who have 90 days of active duty service or more. So a whole lot of people in town who have been, or are veterans who were never qualified for that veterans exemption are now qualified. So I strongly encourage any veteran in town to dig out your DD 214, which is your discharge, and bring it in and fill out the paper. It results in a $500 credit off your tax bill.
And the application deadline's April 15th.
And the application deadline is April 15th. So if you either are a veteran or somebody in your family is, or you know somebody, please encourage them to come down. It's not a, it literally is not a, it's not an aid, it's a thank you, quite frankly, by the town of Ossipee voters who are extending that tax credit to everybody who served. So please, if you are a veteran or know a veteran, have them come fill out the papers for the exemption. Second one is again for veterans exemption. It meets the requirements. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
I have a question about that.
Sure.
She said the deadline is the April 15th. Is that just for this year?
It is.
It's not like the deadline.
No, but in order to get it for this tax year, they have to file it by April 15th. So it's a yearly thing. They'll have to apply. So certainly worthwhile. We have an application for an elderly exemption, which has been through the assessor and meets the requirements. Make a motion we approve it. All in favor? Aye. You have another application for an elderly exemption, and in this case, the assessor recommends that they be denied because they are over the income limit. Make a motion we deny it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Sorry.
I don't know where there it is. It's already checked. We have another veterans exemption request. And to the assessor, the person meets the requirements. I make a motion we approve it. All in favor? Aye. The notice of intent to excavate, this is on map 130, lot 10. It's Ossipee aggregates, a change in the amount being excavated. Taxes are paid. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The contract for use of facilities for OCC to use the gym, tables, chairs, kitchen, etc. for a penny sale on June 5th. Greg, I don't see this has been through you. Just make sure it's on the schedule.
Yeah, I actually wrote it out for Jim and had him sign it, so.
Okay. All right. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. You have the Highway Department work log, which is here in the folder for anybody to look at if they'd like. We have a form which we have to fill out, which is delegation of deposit authority, and is pursuant to the provisions of RSA 4129-2. The town treasurer has the responsibility to deposit all such monies received by the town in an appropriate financial institution as outlined in the statute. RSA 4129-6 allows the treasurer to delegate deposit or other financial functions to other town officials or employees, provided such delegation is in writing and includes written procedures acceptable to the Board of Selectmen. Such delegation may only be to a town official or employee bonded in accordance with RSA 41-6. The Ossipee Town Treasurer hereby delegates deposit function authority to the Ossipee Town Clerk / tax collector or his or / her respective deputy and his / her assistant of the funds collected in that role. These deposits shall be made on a weekly basis or daily whenever receipts total $1,500 or more. In making these deposits, the Ossipee Town Clerk / tax collector, his or her respective deputy or assistant shall provide the Ossipee Town Treasurer with a deposit slip from the town's general fund financial institution, in addition to a detailed backup report documenting the receipt of monies compromising the deposit made. This authority shall remain in effect until rescinded by written notice of the Ossipee Town Treasurer. Dated 3/23/18, signed by the Town Treasurer. I make a motion to sign.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a note from the Ossipee Conservation Commission. Dear Board of Selectmen, at the Ossipee Conservation Commission meeting held on March 21st, the Commission recommends that the Board of Selectmen to reappoint James Dolan and Lori Pendavis to the Conservation Commission for 3-year terms each. We also welcome suggestions you may have for new members. What do we have currently for?
We have a full
vacancies?
list, but we do have two areas. We could have 2 alternates, if
Yep.
somebody wanted to be alternates.
Okay. Well, interestingly enough, and I've been speaking with her, but there's a letter, the next letter in here is writing to let you know I'm interested in being on the Conservation Commission, and that's Crystal Eldridge.
And she stopped by my office the other day.
Good. So you're all set with being an alternate and getting up to speed? Awesome. I'll make a motion then that we go with the Commission's recommendation to reappoint Jim Dolan and Lori Pendavis for 3-year terms. All in favor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Crystal Eldridge as an alternate to the Conservation Commission. Any discussion? All in favor? Welcome. And you're familiar with when the meetings are and everything? Good. Okay, super. It's here in the file for anybody to look at. Long story short, Brad, you can help fill me in on this, on the meeting that you had regarding the White Pond boat.
Yeah, was it Wednesday? Ellen and I went down and met with a gentleman from DES at the White Pond boat ramp area there. It was a good meeting. It was more kind of fact-finding, I guess, information going back and forth as to who has what responsibilities down there, things like that. How they were looking at how it was not developed, but how it was brought to be as a state-owned boat launch to begin with, which they did find those documents. And he wanted to actually visit the site there to look at how the snow was being, the conditions down there, what we have to deal with is like snow storage, things like that. He was very, I'd say he was pleased at the way we were doing the snow, because it's the only way it can be done without putting it down on the next to the edge of the ice there. We're sweeping it off to the side by the fence along the side of the boat ramp. And he realized we have to have a place to turn the truck around, because that's the end of the public road right there at the boat launch. So he had no concerns at all with what we've done so far down there and stuff. Did say that they're going to look into it deeper to find out if we do any maintenance down there. Probably a permit would have to be applied for, like kind of initiated all this about a year ago. As far as maintaining a drainage swale or doing any work on the state-owned portion of it, which is, it's hard to tell, anywhere from 6 to 8 feet wide, from the lake back to the edge of the right-of-way for the town. Anything in the town right-of-way we can do work on without a permit there, as far as grading the road and repairing it up in there. So there's still some gray areas to where that line is between the state and the town, because this was done back in, I think it was 1961 we determined is when that land was taken by the state to do the access. So that's kind of the gist of it. Did I leave anything out, Ellen?
No, other than the fact that it's owned by
division of DOT that's now defunct, so there's no funding available to continue maintenance on the boat ramp, and it is what it is. It's up to the town if we decide to make any improvements to it, and then we'd have to be subject to the standard dredge and fill application or the wetlands
But if
permit.
it's already owned by the state, why wouldn't that be transferred over to Fish and Game, which has authority on all of the other public accesses?
Because it's specifically owned by the state of New Hampshire DOT. I don't think Fish and Game wants anything to do with it. They only stock. They use the boat ramp for stocking purposes only. They don't.
No, but they can, but Fish and Game can only stock a body of water that has public access to it. So they can't have it both ways. I mean, the thing that bugs me, and, you know, the rest of the story, the preview to this was that the DES came in, we did some maintenance work, which in hindsight maybe we shouldn't have done, on the boat ramp to keep it passable. So then DES comes and says, we have to file permits to maintain property that isn't even our responsibility. I think it's very simple. I think we just simply stop doing any maintenance down there whatsoever in the area of that boat ramp. And when it becomes impassable, the sportsmen and others will complain enough that hopefully Fish and Game will do something about it. I do think that it's worth writing a letter that if the state, whether it's DOT or any other state agency which already owns it, then they're responsible for maintaining it. It's not our responsibility. But I was a little hot on the collar because I thought Ellen said that they were looking for us to have to do DES permits to do road maintenance. Okay, so that's like, that can't happen. I mean, we got a bunch of, you'd be doing it down Deer Cove and every other, because we're doing road work adjacent to a body of water, we get a bunch of that.
Well, he did clarify that if you're gonna do any culverts or swales or anything that's gonna redirect the water that would dump into the lake, then we would require permitting for that.
Well, yeah, we're never gonna do anything that's gonna redirect water into the lake.
And he understands too, but looking at the site there where the town road ends and it continues on to the class 6 road, that's all kind of uphill around the grade. There's quite a shed area that feeds down through there. And there's really no gravel on that at all. It's basically a sand pack fill type road there. So every time you get those heavy rains, it brings all that silt down and turns the corner and goes right down into White Pond right there. So within, by us starting, if we don't touch it for this whole summer there, that ditch that we did clean up and put some erosion stone in last year, I would guess would be completely full of silt and stuff, and then it'll be, create a delta out in the White Pond area there. So that might be the trigger that gets the state to act on it. I don't know, but my intention right now was, unless I got a different direction from you guys, was to not maintain that at all any further down and anything to do with the drainage or other than just what we have to do for maintenance of the road and our turnaround. That's it.
I don't believe it. Your thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing?
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's the tack we have to take, but I also think that maybe we can sick Ed on them. If it, the fact that it's owned by DOT, that rightly should come under the purview of Fish and Game.
Tomorrow, I'll be in the Fish and Game committee meeting. The director of Fish and Game Commission will most likely be there. I also film the Fish and Game Commission meetings down in Concord, so if you do have a letter, I can first tell them tomorrow they're going to receive a letter,
Okay.
what it's about, and then also hand it to them on the 14th of April.
That would be very much appreciated. So let's get that letter crafted, and the gist of it is, and you can pretty it up, is that there is a state-owned boat access to White Pond, fishing access. And that it's our understanding that DOT owns title to it, but it certainly should be transferred, in our opinion, it should be transferred to Fish and Game, and they should be maintained. Somebody from the state should. It's not the town's responsibility. You can pretty it up. Anything else you want to add to that? All right, good. There is a copy of the correspondence that we received here in the file if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a copy of the consent calendar from the Executive Council, which is here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a state report that's required annually on all of the red listed bridges. The town of Ossipee only has one left, and that has been replaced. So we are off the red listed bridge list for now. Doesn't mean we won't be back on it at some point. As bridges age, they need to be replaced. But right now, every red listed bridge that we have has been replaced. We have a draft copy here. Craig, I don't know if you want to comment on this. It's on the Town of Ossipee Recreation Department, Recreation Advisory Board. We've met with Craig now, 2 or 3 occasions anyway, talking about formation of an advisory board. Again, trying to get public input of people who have school-age children predominantly, but others as well, to make an advisory committee to help steer the direction of the recreation department. Anything you want to add to that?
That's basically it, just to get every nonprofit in Ossipee that supports recreation.
Yeah.
Each one of them nominate one member to be on the board.
Yep.
And then as far as the time, like I'll serve on it, then the Economic Commission can nominate one person, the school can nominate one person, and the Library Board of Trustees can nominate one person. That'll get everyone in the same room talking, coming up with ideas.
And you're gonna take care of making those invitations?
Yep.
Okay. Anything you need from us on that at this point?
Is there approval?
I think we pretty much have agreed to this, this pretty issue, but
Yeah.
anything you want to add to it, Sam? Make a motion, we allow the recreation director to go forward with the creation of a recreation advisory board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay? That concludes that portion. We do have a water and sewer warrant to allow the tax collector to collect $40. I make a motion, we sign it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
This is a copy of an email. Well, you want to explain it? This one on the leak detection,
Sorry, Bill. It was the email you sent to me a week ago.
survey grant.
Yeah,
So you're applying for a grant through the leak detection, is that what it is?
yeah, the survey is not actually a grant, it's
Okay,
something to pay back, if you don't give it to
okay,
us. We could get it again this year,
okay,
it looks good.
good. And that's on the leak detection as part of the process that they're trying to do on the water system, okay? Old business. Anything, Brad, on 28-171? On sidewalks?
Yeah, after the White Mountain survey today, he has us on the schedule to start the work on the first week of April here, which is good news. When we signed the contract that I approved a few weeks ago, it was about 12 to 14 weeks out then, so he's moved us way up on the schedule there, and we'll start it next week, so.
Everbridge?
I did reach out to them, I didn't hear back yet, asking them for, now that we got the DES approval, and how we're doing on the final design, what our timeframes are moving forward, so, they didn't get back to me before the meeting today, so hopefully I have some more information on that next week.
And that is something that brought fish hatchery to the list.
I just wanted to add it to the list. Steve and I are gonna get together and put the RFP out for the roofing and the siding replacement,
Yep.
but I also didn't wanna lose track of it because they're coming up on another season here, and we should probably meet with them to,
Finalize the lease,
yes, or at least,
talk about the,
yeah.
yeah, okay. So you're working, Steve, on getting those the RFPs out? Okay. And we're gonna do that on the painting in here as well, right?
Yes.
Are we doing that or is Brad doing that?
Last week we mentioned to you guys, so I'm gonna get together with Steve, work with him on that, and get that out, yep.
I really want that to happen sooner rather than later. Okay. Anything else under old business?
I actually have an old business.
Sure.
I'm Joe Deegan, Chairman of the Conservation Commission. The walkway that's down at Annie's Nickel Road, that path that's been created, or it's been there, but it's been revised. I guess Ron Adams, and I knew we talked about it a long time ago, but I found it, dragged it down, is to create 3 or 4 parking spaces at the head of that walkway.
Yeah.
And White Mountain Survey put a proposal together for that. How do we go about possibly making that happen?
What I'm gonna suggest to do first is to go over it with Brad. Most of those small projects like that are things that we would probably be able to fit in and do, and be done by the town versus going out to bid and construction and all of that stuff.
Which I think is a great idea, yeah.
Um,
Especially since it's a gravel base. You
Yeah.
know, it's not a true, it's a parking lot, but it would be a gravel base.
Yeah.
But White Mountain Survey, I guess, needs to do a wetland evaluation and plot it out and plan that. At least that's what this is about. But I'll talk to Brad about it, yeah.
Why don't you talk with Brad and Billy, and if it's something we need to have White Mountain Survey involved with, if there is that wetland issue, and I'm not convinced there is, that's pretty good
Yeah.
distance from the water
Well,
down
this is
there.
just from
but
what I saw, so, yeah.
It is, and I don't think a secondary river like that, I don't think the shoreline protection even comes in play.
Yeah, that's something I need to look into, so.
Look into that, but I would meet
Yeah.
with Brad and Billy, and that type of small construction is something that normally we'd try to fit in our off-season and just
Okay.
do it.
And could I just ask something? I know we talked about it last year, and we talked about doing a bid. This is about the scenic overlook.
Yep.
Can I talk with Brad, can I, in that same time, can I speak with Brad about possibly because it is a town-owned area, it's used a lot, it should get relatively constant maintenance. I don't think it'll be major constant maintenance, not like grass cutting. But I really do believe that it should be maintained by the town, and I think it would be best served if it could possibly be built into a schedule to be looked at, instead of putting it out to bid all the time.
I think the bid though was more about the brush cutting and stuff, and that,
But it's not really, I mean, when I look at the project, I think to get the project done, so it has a place to start from, I mean, you might be looking at 2, maybe 3 people, maybe a day and a half at the most there. Because I think you would need to move the rocks out of the way to make it clear, and if you had a bush hog, which I believe we have, as a town, you just use that to cut down all the grass. And there's really not that much more maintenance there to be done to get it.
without any commitment from us.
Yeah.
Go ahead and meet with Brad and Billy, and then come back to us with some, let us know what it is they're asking for you to do. Is it something you can or want, you know what I mean? And let's at least look at it.
I really don't think it's anything out of control. It's
Okay.
something that wouldn't take a relatively short amount of time to get it started, and then once it's set,
Yeah.
it would just be a maintenance thing. It would just be a small,
Yeah,
it
the only-
really wouldn't be
The only
difficult.
thing that concerns me, I mean, it's all well and good that this might be small, but the idea when they created this was that the Conservation Commission was gonna oversee it, they were gonna maintain it, they were gonna run it. And I realized that was a different group.
It
and
was,
I'm-
yes.
And I'm not at all against re-looking at anything at any point, but just so we understand that caveat.
I'm fine with
Okay.
just that first step. That's
Okay.
fine.
We'll get with them and take a look at it and then come back to us and we'll see what we can figure out.
Because I wasn't aware of what you just said.
Yeah.
Because I knew that they went down there once or twice a year as a group
Yeah.
and policed it, but,
It's what they chose to take on as a
yeah,
project.
it's, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else under old business? New business, White Pond, we pretty much have covered. Earth Day at the transfer station coming up,
April 21.
April 21st.
It's Saturday.
I certainly encourage people to take advantage of that. We waive all of the fees that day. Some people refer to it as free dump day. There are a couple of restrictions on the number of tires, et cetera, that one person can bring. But I will tell you, as I have in years past, if you have more than what is allowed, call us, talk to Brad. We will do everything we can to accommodate it, because the idea being, we want that stuff in the dump and disposed of properly, as a way of helping to relieve some of what goes on the back road. So it's a great opportunity to clean up your yard, clean up that shed or the garage, and not get hit with the fees. We started, 2 years ago, doing the second one in the fall.
3 years or so.
Maybe 3 years now, but as far as I'm concerned, we will continue that. So this is the spring one. It is a great opportunity, and I encourage people to take advantage of that. Anything else on the new business? Brad, did you have anything?
Nope.
Second, public input. Anybody? Yep.
I just wanted to ask Sam if she could put this on the website under the water and sewer. I did, we're sending out all of our bills and stuff for the people on the water system. I'd just like to put that up, okay?
And Bo, I didn't, I completely forgot about calling you about installing my meter until I get doing your bills this afternoon, but I will get to you.
We'll meet you anyhow.
Well, yeah.
So it's okay.
Good.
Bo,
Yeah.
can you email this?
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah,
email it to
you
me.
guys can keep that one.
Yeah, email it, please.
And I'll have the first part of July, I have to do the consumer report for the water, and I'm gonna ask you to do the same thing with the consumer report, if you could put that on there too for us.
You spoke of the sidewalks. There's no crosswalk on Folsom Road. Do we have to have state approval to paint that, or?
The answer is yes.
I'd like the board then to send a letter to DOT and have it done when they paint.
We're working with them right now. We actually met with DOT not too long ago. In the past, when we put those sidewalks in, we just did them. I'm not at all against that whole premise. It's easier to ask forgiveness afterwards and get permission in advance. We needed the crosswalks, we put them in. In fairness, we probably should have asked them, we didn't. We have just met with the gentleman from the state on that very issue to get permission to go forward with doing the sidewalks. As part of the sidewalks, those will tie into crosswalks. So we are working with them. Brad, I guess you could probably reach out to them based even with the plans that we have to get permission to do the crosswalks.
It'll be part of the plan being designed, submitted to them, will show the crosswalks all.
I understand that, except that if I'm hearing Connie correctly, it would be nice to get those installed as soon as spring finally breaks. We may not get to I don't know how far we're going to get on actual construction of the sidewalks. I think the crosswalks are pretty much something that we should be able to paint in at any time. And I guess maybe sooner.
We do the one at the intersection.
We paint that every year.
Yeah, we just do that one, but we don't do any further down the
Yeah,
street.
the one at Folsom, are you doing that one?
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing, the planning board is now starting to do the master plan. So if anybody has got ideas, we'd like you to present them. I'd like something from the selectmen, economic, conservation, etc.
Most all of them have probably an area already within the report. What I might suggest you got a subcommittee, or is the planning board taking on it as a whole? Okay. What they've done in years past, because I've participated in a couple of those, is they will actually just photocopy out the section for each police department, everybody that has a section in there, they'll photocopy that out, send it out to that group and say, this is what's currently in the master plan. What do you want to do for recommendations to update this? It might be a good avenue for you, because you're going to then send one to the Conservation Commission. And
Probably take us about a year.
it's a fairly long process. I mean, even identifying the different resources within it is a.
We pretty much got that done. It's just the idea of what the different departments or committees, whatever you want to call them, have their own ideas of what they would like in there. And we could get a brief outline of that previous, we could work on that. So, and I gotta see Sam about putting the 4 cemeteries which we can't identify on the website, and hopefully somebody will come up with some areas that they are in.
You're looking for 4 cemeteries, you don't know what they are?
No, I have an individual account for, I believe it's Gilman Hanson Gilman, a Young, and the Young has something like $5,000 in it.
Perpetual care fund?
correct.
You don't know where those cemeteries are.
I don't know where those particular graves are. Sam and I have tried to work on it before. I mean, I've even gone down to probate, and probate told me, oh, that person never filed. Yet I got $5,000 initial principal. Now it's about $7,000 with interest and stuff. So I'd like to get that on the website.
Yeah, on the lifeguards, I go to Albee Beach pretty regularly, and they get their lifeguards from Brewster. There's always like at least 4 over there any day. So I don't know if you can post over there. Yeah, yeah. Maybe post over around there.
I got something. I don't know if it's for you or if it's for Ed. It has to do with, down by the boat launch. Are they required to put an apron? They put the road in. Are they required to put an apron down there too? Because you come off where they do this new drive, right onto the road with no apron. I know as a contractor, I always had to put a 15-foot apron, anything off on the state road. Are they?
I'd have to check with DOT. Is it a cutout where?
Yeah, there's no apron coming from the boat launch onto 25, on the Route 25, and it is horrible. Yeah. It's just it might be a question for you. I know Fish and Game are the ones that did the boat
Well,
launch.
the answer to your question is, you may choose to bring up the Fish and Game Commission again.
Right.
Is that when they just reconstructed the boat launch on 25, they didn't install an apron, and it's pretty hard to drive. I mean, there's a big drop-off coming off 25 into their property. So, yep. Okay, anybody have anything else? If not, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, folks.
Brad?
Oh, God.